Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the Zoning Board of Adjustment for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. I am Michael McEwen, Vice Chair. Shanna Adams, Garrett Craig, and Lexi Murphy are here. We have the staff, Joella Thomas, Aidan Dennehy, Becky Roll, and Planning Director, Julia Crane. One item for tonight, as you can see, we only have 4 of the board members, and so you have the option of deferring till the next board meeting for your decision, or sticking tonight and having the 4 decisions, 4 board members make the decision. It has to be a unanimous decision for the vote to go in or against, for or against you. So if there's anybody that would like to defer presenting, let us know. No?
Tonight, respectfully. Thank you.
You bet. Since Appeal 2502 has deferred to the next meeting, we'll move on to the next item, which is Appeal 2503. This is Reddy S. Frost is appealing the zoning officer's determination denying a variance application to construct an addition to the south side of an existing legal non-conforming structure in a C2 zone. The property is, let's see. I don't have an address, but 2000, located at 2000 Roberts Street. Is the applicant present? Awesome. And first, we will have staff give the presentation.
Yes.
Thank you, Aidan.
All right, so this is Appeal 25-3 for 2000 Roberts Avenue. This is an appeal of the zoning officer's decision. The applicant, Reddy S. Frost. Oh, sorry, I'll wait till we... Okay. The appeal, the applicant is appealing the zoning officer's decision denying a variance to build an addition on the south side of his residence, varying from conditions outlined in 174830, uses of land, and 144840, buildings or structures of the Butte-Silver Municipal Code. 174830, uses of land, states no such non-conforming structure or non-conforming use shall be enlarged or increased, nor extended to occupy a greater area of land than was occupied at the effective date of adoption or amendment of the ordinance codified in this title. 174840, buildings or structures, states no such structure may be enlarged or altered in any way which increases its nonconformity unless an enlargement or structural alteration makes the building more conforming or is required by law, but any structure or portion thereof may be altered to decrease its nonconformity. The proposed project. The applicant is proposing to construct an addition and roof extension on top of an existing elevated concrete basement at the residence located at 2000 Roberts Avenue. The residential dwelling unit resides in a C2 community commercial zoning district, making it a legal, non-conforming use. According to the submitted residential building permits and supporting site plan, staff interpreted the addition would be approximately 400 square feet and be built within a 12-foot front yard setback and a 2-foot south side yard setback. The current impervious structures result in an approximately 50% lot coverage. In a cover letter submitted by the applicant on October 11, 2025, the proposed addition is described as a necessary step in order to prevent further water damage to the existing basement. These pictures were taken on November 6, 2025. You can see the part with the wood posts and the tarp was the start of building the addition. You can just kind of see a front view as well as the side yard setback to the neighbor's house. These next two pictures are the same residence taken on January 8th, 2026. I believe the applicant was notified of the rules of a variance, which state you cannot vary from something that has already started construction. So in order to be in compliance with the possibility of a variance, he did take down the start of that construction project. Staff findings. There's no unique topographical or geological hardship that exists. The result would be contrary to the public interest. The requested addition increases the legal nonconformity or the nonconformity related to the legal nonconforming status of the residential dwelling. The proposal does not move the existing residence towards compliance. If permitted, the proposed 2-foot side yard setback would require a rated firewall per the 2021 International Residential Building Code. Possible nuisances to the adjoining property owner could result from inadequate stormwater retention. In conclusion, Section 7-1-114(1)(e) of the Montana Code Annotated provides that a local government with self-governing powers, which includes Butte-Silver Bow, must comply with all state laws that require or regulate planning or zoning. The MCA, as well as Section 17.54 Board of Adjustments of the Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code, define the powers of the board as follows. To hear and decide appeals where it is alleged there is no error in any order, requirement, decision, or determination made by the enforcing officer in the enforcement of this chapter of this title. To hear and decide special exceptions to the terms of this title upon which such board is required to pass under such ordinance. To authorize, upon appeal in specific cases, such variance from the terms of this title and will not be contrary to the public interest where, owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions of the title will result in necessary hardship, and so that the spirit of this title shall be observed and substantial justice done. In exercising the above-mentioned powers, such board may, in conformity with the provisions of this title, reverse or affirm, wholly or partly, or modify the order, requirement, decision, or determination appealed from, and may make such order, requirement, decision, or determination as ought to be made, and to that end shall have all the powers of the officer for whom the appeal is taken. And that is the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden. Does the board have any questions of staff? Nope. And if the applicant wants to step forward to the mic and give their presentation.
Howdy, Reddy Frost, 2000 Roberts Avenue. Did you all receive my my copy of my updated the site plan, my updated site plan? When I turned in my application for the appeal, I did send in a new site plan, which I was hoping could address some of the concerns brought up by the city. And I apologize that I didn't realize those were going to be concerns when I first turned in my application. I feel like there's not a lot of guidance for citizens in this town. That said, with the code violations brought up by the city, the temporary structure that I erected, I did notify the city about when I was turning in my original plans. It was, as a carpenter, I don't see how what I put up, which was to abate water intrusion into a controlled space inside my home with active electrical connections, which has been a fun time abating that, could be misconstrued as actually framed, wood-framed walls and the erection of trusses or other such load-bearing members. I mean, those were just scabbed together 2x4s with plastic over it. It's a temporary structure, but I did remove it, and I also think that active construction, as defined in Montana code, is very ambiguous. I also sent in an updated cover letter. Variance denial annotated 7625-502 specifies the process and eligibility criteria for variance. Qualify for variance. Variance applications must be considered and approved with conditions before application or in conjunction with application for a zoning permit. A variance may not be sought for an active project initiated prior to zoning board of adjustments for approval. Furthermore, MCA 7625-502-4A states a variance may not be granted if detrimental to public health and safety and general welfare, nature of encroachment. I mean, that's that, but pertaining to 7625-502, active construction is not definitively defined in Montana code or IBC code to properly exclude the stockpiling of materials, which is in reference to the claim that I had residential truss components, signifying that I was actively starting construction. As a carpenter, I regularly find myself in possession of surplus building materials that I stockpile on my property and gift to friends for use on their projects. There's certainly no way to prove that the trusses in the public right-of-way are intended for the proposed construction project. I've sought a variance for the only erected structure has been a temporary tent for mitigation of the water infiltration into the basement. I have demoed the tent even though it was viewed and approved by BSB building inspector Rusty prior to any permit application filings. And that was on August 13th, 2025. Came over and visited the property and inspected it. After receiving a complaint about that same tent, he did not issue any citations, and when asked for guidance about it, he said that I should send in photos of the state of the property, which I did with my initial appeal application, and I also tried my best to communicate what I was dealing with to the city. It seems like I did not do a very good job about that, and I apologize again for not communicating as well as I should or being as well read on the process as I should. And then pertaining to MCA 7625-502-4A, I have updated my plans and moved the non-bearing wall, which is 29 feet of the 36 feet, back 3 feet, and called out for 2-hour fire barriers with type X drywall for the entirety of the proposed construction, as well as a non-combustible sheathing, LP flame block, I believe, was what I called out for. And then a fire-resistant vapor barrier and siding on all the exterior walls in proximity to my neighbor's home. The same material was used on the VA when they did the connectors, of which I was on that project and installed all of the exterior sheeting and vapor barrier, which did pass all of its inspections. So this will provide a 5-foot clearance between the two buildings while also allowing for roof to shed water away from the basement. Furthermore, on the footprint increase, I don't really understand how the footprint of a building, which is already constructed and elevated out of the ground, I can't grow a lawn on that. Any method of sealing the top of that concrete lid, which is less than a 1% grade away from my home, that's why it's degraded. It doesn't have the drainage, and in fact, there's a large boiler or decommissioned boiler, concrete bunker-esque outbuilding that connects to the basement. That slopes back towards my home. So any way to abate those would still increase even an inch in height and be flammable. I mean, tarring it, that's a flammable substance, which, I mean,
I hate to cut you off.
Sorry.
We're gonna, I guess, ask some questions from the board of you. I reviewed your submitted applications and documents and appeal, and very well written. You did a good job. I have not seen, and I don't know if anybody else did, an updated schematic showing a 5-foot setback. And so that would be my first question to you is, do you have plans to change the construction to include a 5-foot setback with the fire-resistant materials, as well as accounting for drainage that could go into your neighbor's yard?
So, yes. So it wouldn't be a full 5-foot setback from the property line, which runs right on the edge of that basement. To put trusses over it, I need to have a bearing point on one of the foundation walls, and to run 29-foot trusses or 36-foot trusses would be very difficult, and I'd have a lot of weight in less spread out around it. So with a 6-foot space, can I show you? I have it on my phone right here. I can pass it around to the.
For that, I would like to ask the planning director for her input, if she can illuminate some issues for us.
Thank you, Chairman McEwen. This is regarding Mr. Frost's appeal. I want to clarify the nature of this appeal for the board and what your vote would be for this evening. We are not discussing the merits of his construction project as proposed. When this appeal was filed, this project was in progress, and we cannot authorize seeking a variance while a project is in progress and is currently in active violation of code. So the nature of this appeal is not whether or not his project should be approved or denied, but you would be, if you voted in favor of his appeal, it would be allowing him the opportunity to apply for a variance to resolve the challenges to his property.
Thank you for that clarification. That makes a lot more sense. I think at this point we've probably heard what what we need to in regards to that aspect of it. Are there any proponents, or you can have a seat, ready? Any proponents or opponents of this project present? I don't see any. I guess I should have you come back up because I didn't ask the board if they had any questions already beyond what I had asked. I don't see any. Given that, I think, is there, close the open comment period and put it up to discussion for the board, or a motion?
Mr. Chairman, and maybe this is a question for staff, but I guess I'm just maybe a little bit confused on, you know, the denial and then the appeal, and then the applicant stating that there's been a revised site plan since then. Does that, are we still voting on his original appeal, or I'm just a little confused on the process there.
Director Crane.
Mr. Chairman, Member Craig, members of the board. This is, so the challenge that we have here is that in the interim time between when Mr. Frost appealed and now, he has disassembled his project. So he has submitted a revised site plan to our department, but in order for us to allow the expansion of a legally non-conforming use, he requires a variance from this board. And until we have a variance approved by the board, our staff cannot evaluate the application that he has submitted because it is not currently permitted. Does that, am I being clear?
Okay, so the options that we have are approve his appeal, and then he gets to move on, or agree with the denial and he gets to start over. Is that?
Mr. Chairman, I think the appropriate approach would be that you agree with his appeal and it would allow him or afford him the opportunity to apply for a variance. If you were to deny the appeal, then he would be done. Correct? Right?
Thank you for that clarification. Given that, is there a motion on the board?
I guess, I guess, kind of my opinion, I won't make a motion yet, but I guess just because I'm a little just unclear on the history, I mean, my gut's saying, you know, uphold the appeal and allow, you know, allow the applicant an opportunity to submit a variance, you know, according to the correct process.
Is that a motion? No.
No, if no one else has any other comments, I'll make a motion. So with that, I would make a motion to uphold the applicant's appeal 25-3.
I'll second.
Thank you, Member Craig and Member Murphy. We'll now put it to a vote. So it is unanimous in favor of the motion to allow you to work towards compliance and get a variance application put in. Thank you. Next on the agenda is special use application 2524, which is a special use application by Matt Williams and Corley Phelan to locate a short-term rental in an existing condominium complex in accordance with the requirements of Section 173818 of the SBMC. The property is located at 701 South Arizona, unit number 302. And I believe we're going to wrap this in with the next item, special use permit 2525, which is a special use application by Wonderland LLC owner Allison Miles to locate a short-term rental in the same condominium complex located at 701 South Arizona Street, this one being Unit 201. Does the staff have a presentation?
Yes, we do. So this is for special use 25-24 and 25 for 701 South Arizona Street, units 201 and 302. The applicants are Carrie Phelan and Matt Williams and Wonderland LLC and Allison Miles. The proposal is to locate a short-term rental in an existing residential condo complex per section 1738-180. Special uses allowed in the Butte-Silver Municipal Code. The property in question is legally addressed as 701 South Arizona Street, units 201 and 302. Lodging provided by a homeowner for compensation is recognized as a special use allowed in any residential zoning district. This special use provides for review of public input, a measure of the potential impact of the proposed use on the surrounding neighborhood, and compatibility of the proposed use with the adjoining neighborhood. To provide the board with more information about the proposed special use, the applicant and planning staff have responded to an established 20 questions. This is an aerial view of where the condominium complex is located. You can see it's in the CM zone. Nearby there's an M2L zone. This is outside the complex. Location and character of the property and surrounding buildings. The property is located in a CM, commercial and light industrial zone. The existing building was granted a variance to allow for residential uses in 2021, and that is variance 21-2. The surrounding area consists of residential, commercial, and industrial uses. These include Casa Grande Steakhouse, S.J. Perry, R&R Electric, Steele's Furniture, and many other residential uses. Proposed vehicle access, circulation, and parking. Vehicle access to and from the property is acceptable for the proposed use. Access to the front of the residence is provided via on-street, that should be on-street parking, via South Arizona Avenue. Aluminum Street also features on-street parking options for guests. On-street parking appears to be the primary option in the area. Neighboring residents have expressed parking concerns in the past. Planning staff recommend incorporating specific parking instructions in rental listings, including no parking in front of adjacent residential properties. There appear to be no handicap specific parking areas. Planning staff also recommends the applicant provide detailed description of the parking accommodations in the rental listing. Potential nuisances. A primary concern is the potential for increased traffic in the area. However, if the occupancy of the condo is in conformance with the residential building code, renting out the units in question on a short-term basis should not considerably increase traffic more than what is expected. Short-term renters may be less concerned about creating excessive noise within the dwelling. Staff would suggest the applicants enforce rules through online hosting programs that do not allow for parties. The use conforms to the objectives of the comprehensive plan. This is This property is located within the north corridor of the comprehensive plan. This place type serves as a major transportation routes for people and goods, linking urban neighborhoods to each other and providing fast and easy access to the urban core of Butte. The area consists of a mix of commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential uses. Conditions of approval. The applicant shall be required to secure a state of Montana a public accommodations license through the Butte-Silver Health Department. Any remodeling of the existing residence performed to accommodate the proposed business will be required to meet all building code, health code, and fire codes. The property address must be visible, including past dark, and entrances must be clearly identified. The applicants shall be limited to the occupancy level as determined by the Butte-Silver Building Code and Fire Departments. The applicants will be limited specifically to the business as stated and approved. Any future business expansions, changes in business, or building expansions will require further review by the Zoning Board of Adjustment. The applicants will be required to obtain a Butte-Silver business license. In conclusion, based on the information provided in the application, staff's analysis of the review of criteria, and any public opinion as it relates to the criteria, the board must determine if the applicants have presented evidence to the satisfaction of the board that said undue detriment will not result from the granting of a special use permit for their short-term rentals. The board within 60 days shall either deny or approve this application. And that is the conclusion.
Thank you, Aiden. Do we have the applicants present? I guess who wants to go first?
Short straw. Can you hear me, everybody? Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board. My name's Matt Williams. I'm here with my wife, Carrie Phelan. Just wanted to request your consideration in the approval of this application for special use. We're committed to reinvesting in Uptown Butte. We're lifelong Montanans. We're not from California. So I just would graciously hope that you guys would consider our application for approval, please.
Have you had an opportunity to review the planning department's conditions of approval?
Yes, sir. And so we already have a plan in place to do the parking recommendations and then the no party thing. Like that's part of the plan that we already have in place.
So no issue with
No issues.
conditions?
Nope.
Does the board have any questions of this applicant? Are there any proponents for this application at Unit 201, or excuse me, 302? None? With that, I will close the comments. The board has any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I think similar to past short-term rentals that we've approved, no difference, no heartburn on my end approving this one.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. I'll have the next applicant step up.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Allison, a single member owner of Wonderland LLC. I am nervous to be up here, but I appreciate this. I live in Gallatin County in Belgrade. The short-term rentals are very disruptive in the neighborhood that I live in, and so I appreciate this process. Like I said, I'm nervous, but this is a great way to get things approved and to review it. So I agree with what you had recommendations for parking as well as for parties. My unit's 872 feet. I don't know how crazy a party you're going to have in there, but it's also nice. Mike and Maisie have done a nice job with the building, and I have done a nice job in making it my stay-free mini pad, so I don't want people in there wrecking it. The building was on the Dust to Dazzle tour on January 28th. I don't know if you had a chance, or excuse me, June 28th. I don't know if you had a chance to go in it, but it is awesome. And I took some of the information that the Historical Society provided and preemptively created some things. Can I pass them around? That would that would go in the short-term unit, and this was before I even received the information from you about parties and trash and parking and stuff. And the building is great for short-term rentals. It is, again, a secure building. There's lots of parking around in the area as long as people aren't parking in front of the other buildings, and that the curbs aren't marked, and I understand that maybe that's something that's going to be happening, but in the check-in instructions and what would be left inside the unit, there's clear details on that.
And you kind of touched on this, but you've been provided with the conditions of approval from the planning department?
Yes.
And any issues with those?
No, and I would like to engage Platinum Property Management, Clay Seacombe and his team, to be the boots on the ground. It is very, very helpful to have local management and resources available. So I'm not planning to go rogue and do this myself. I need the local community to help support it.
Thank you for all that. Does the board have any questions of the applicant? Are there any opponents or proponents of this unit 201
Correct.
in attendance? Want to speak? With that, we'll close the comments and let the board discuss.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, same position on this one as the previous unit. I think well thought out, well put together by the applicant.
Yeah, I agree. There are places where these short-term rentals are problematic, and they can be problematic community-wide, as I've said many times. But I do think this is the ideal place for a short-term rental.
Thank you, Member Craig and Member Adams. Appreciate it. Do we have a
Mr. Chairman, members of the
yes.
board, with your comments, I would move to approve both variances.
I would second both of them with the conditions as outlined by staff on
Okay.
both applicants.
Thank you. Well, with that, we will then take it to a vote. And with that, both motions pass unanimously. You've been granted Your special use application, you will receive information from the planning department. Thank you all for your time and presentations today. That will adjourn our meeting. Thanks.